you all just looked at a video on looking at fractions on a number line and how to fill in fractions on a number line. And what I want to show you now is how to take two fractions with the same denominator, looking at a picture of each fraction and comparing them. Remember that when we compare two numbers, we're seeing if one of them is greater than, less than, or equal to the other one. So let's say I have two circles of the same size that are both divided into the same number of equal pieces, but I'm going to shade in a different amount on both of them. So, my fraction for this one, first my denominator is how many pieces total it's divided into. 1, 2, 3, 4. And my number of shaded pieces, there are 2 of them. So 2/4 of that fraction is shaded in. Over here, it's divided into the same number of equal pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4. But here we have 1, 2, 3 pieces shaded in. Okay? So if we were looking at these two fractions, 2/4 and 3/4, and comparing them, well, we could see that the 3/4 has more shaded pieces than the 2/4 does. Okay? So we would do our less than symbol, which is pointing to the right or opened up to the right. Okay? Remember, you can think of it as the alligator's mouth. The alligator wants to eat the bigger one, so he's opening up to the bigger one. We read this 2/4 is less than 3/4 because 3/4 has more area shaded in than the 2/4. Let's look at another one. Again, I'm going to use two shapes that are the same size and divided into the same number of equal pieces. Okay, so I want to find my fraction for each of these. All right, this one, my denominator is the number of total pieces it's divided into. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces. And then I'm going to look at how many are shaded in for my numerator. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the fraction for the shaded area of this figure is 5/6. This one, same number of total pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So my denominator is still 6. Now, my numerator, this time I only have 2 shaded pieces. So, the fraction for the shaded area of that one is 2/6. So if I was comparing these with the greater than, less than, or equal to symbol, I can see that this one has more shaded area than that one does. So this is the bigger one. So I want my alligator's mouth to be opened up to the bigger fraction. I would read this as 5/6 is greater than 2/6. Okay? So it's pretty easy to compare two fractions when the denominator is the same. If your denominators are the same numbers in both of your fractions, then you're just going to look at the numerator at the top and whichever numerator is bigger, that's going to be your overall bigger fraction. Now I want to talk about something called unit fractions. Unit fractions are fractions whose numerator is a 1. Okay? Fractions whose numerator is 1. All right? So, for instance, I might have 1/4. This is a unit fraction. My numerator is 1. Now, that could be, you have a circle divided into 4 total pieces, and then 1 piece is shaded in, okay, 1/4. Or you might have 1/8, where you have a figure divided into 8 total pieces. And only one of them is shaded in. Okay? A unit fraction is any fraction whose numerator or top number is a 1. The denominator can be anything. Now, when you are comparing unit fractions, it's a little trickier. Okay? For example, if we were to compare 1/3 with 1/6. Now, you might look at those two fractions and say, oh, well, 6 is the bigger number, so that must be the bigger fraction. 1/3 is less than 1/6. But if we take a look at these fractions, I'm going to show you using our fraction pieces. Okay? This piece is 1/3, and this piece is 1/6, okay, of lines that are bars that are all the same length, okay, divided into different numbers of total pieces. For example, this red one is just the whole line. It's not broken into any pieces, it's just one whole. Then your pink is divided into 2 equal pieces, so each of these is 1/2 of that whole red line. All right? The orange is 1/3. It's divided into 3 equal pieces. All right, so each of those is 1/3. So this one is 1/6 of that whole line. So if we put our 1/3 and our 1/6 together, we can clearly see that 1/3 is bigger. Because if you take something, and let's say we have a candy bar. And we're going to get 1/3 of this candy bar. So we're going to divide it into 3 equal pieces. And I'm going to get 1 piece out of the 3. All right, now for this one, same size candy bar, but this time it's divided into 6 equal pieces. Okay? And I'm only going to get 1 of those pieces. So you see that I get a bigger amount if my candy bar is only divided into thirds. A 1/3 piece is bigger than a 1/6 piece. The more pieces that you break a figure into, the smaller the pieces are going to be. Okay? So with unit fractions, your numerator is always going to be 1, your denominators are what you're looking at, and the smaller the denominator, the bigger the fraction. So actually we would have 1/3 is greater than 1/6. Alligator's going to be opened up to the 1/3. He's going to want that 1/3 piece more than he would want the 1/6 piece. Okay, let's try one more of these unit fractions. Let's do 1/8 and 1/5. Okay, so if we had a candy bar and we divided it into 8 pieces and we got one of those pieces, then a same size candy bar, we divided it into only 5 pieces and we get one of those 5 pieces. Which one is going to be a larger piece? Okay, so I'm going to take 1/8, that's 1/8 of this whole candy bar, and compare it to 1/5. This is 1/5 of that whole candy bar. Okay, I'm getting a bigger piece with the 1/5. Okay, I'm dividing it into a fewer number of pieces if I only divided it into 5 rather than 8. So I would draw the less than symbol. 1/8 is less than 1/5. Okay, because the 1/5 is the bigger fraction. So with unit fractions, it's kind of backwards from what you might expect. You might expect that, oh, well, there's an 8 there, so that's bigger than 5, so this is the bigger fraction. It's actually the opposite. You're dividing the figure into more pieces, so the pieces are going to be smaller.